Hello, beautiful women of God within the Temple of She group. Hope everyone is doing absolutely amazingly well. Welcome, everyone, regardless when you are watching this. Whether you are a new member, whether you have been in the group for a while. Right now, as I am recording this video, the group just has been opened. And in fact, I just wanted very quickly to share with you that this is not my first group. Actually, the Temple group has been existed for a while. And then last year, I think I lost everything that I had on Facebook. So this new group is a renewal and rebirth of the Temple of She group that is welcoming, of course, as it was said before, all the women who are authentically, bravely stepping onto the path of the divine feminine and truly want to create an honest and lasting, everlasting relationship with God, embody the highest potential, and also, of course, step into the mission that God has planned for her, so she can bring in the light, the support, and be in service to others on this planet. And today, as I was sitting and thinking about the topic I would like to bring in to the table today and share with you, I thought that because the group has been opened and there is very little content, and in the initial video I share with you what are my specialties, what you can expect from the group, what you will be able to find in a group. Today I decided to pop in with almost we can call it like an initial introduction to the divine feminine call. How does it feel? What does it mean? What are the mistakes that we very often make, the false ideas that we may actually have about the path of the divine feminine? What to expect when we are actually stepping onto the false path, believing that we are on the path of the divine feminine, and how it may be transformed and changed, and what usually God will do. And I'm going to try to support you with as many information as it is possible. Right away, I will say that absolutely everything comes from my own personal experience as well. So I do not speak, I never speak of anything that would come from some kind of books, mentors, coaches. I always speak about everything from my own personal experience and from everything that I receive from God directly through the prophetic gift of mine. So the divine feminine, as we discussed this before, unfortunately, the title of it, even though so sacred, so holy, so important, so extremely actually difficult to embody and achieve, has been greatly commercialized. And as we know, the title of the divine feminine has been widely used within the New Age circles, which I also belonged to a while ago. Um, and now I can definitely confirm without going into any judgment that definitely um, the divine feminine traits, the divine feminine characteristics that are being given and taught within the New Age circles have very little to do with the truth. And I would like to include this New Age traits as well, not to punish them, not to judge them, because as I said, I was also part of it, and I questioned God. God, why did you allow me to actually follow the information on the divine feminine that were given out by the mentors and coaches that come directly from the New Age? And God gave me a perfect, explanation, personal explanation. And I think a lot of women eventually who will remain or step onto the truth path and remain on the path will see exactly the same reasoning behind it, and the transformation of this path from the New Age Divine Feminine to the real, true, organic Divine Feminine path. Now, when I look back now at my own experiences and me dipping my toes into the New Age, and very honestly sharing with you uh, how I now see God really foreseen everything that was taking place on my path and used the information that I was gaining from the New Age, and what I also start to see within the paths of other divine feminine is this. So, um, without going into deep details of why the New Age blew up so excessively and became so popular, because of course, there are forces behind it, and of course there is a plan of the enemy behind it. And the absolutely beautiful women, gifted, talented women who are becoming the coaches, and they're trying to teach other women about the divine feminine, they have very often no clue that there is something wrong with that. So I'm absolutely not saying that any misleading information are being given out on purpose, although potentially there are also women who unfortunately will do that as well. So what I see is that great number of women received the call. Great number of women suddenly started to feel deep within their hearts that they do want to connect to themselves, to others, to the world through their spirit, through their hearts. They wanted to go on this soul searching mission. We are in the era where we are unafraid to ask questions, where a lot of knowledge is accessible, where we can do a lot of research in our own private space through the internet when it comes to the world, when it comes to God, when it comes to the soul journeys, and so on and so on. And I definitely think that it was pre-designed. I do see God's hand in it, that suddenly our spirit just wants to be more awakened than the flesh. Why? Because the whole world is basically designed to support the flesh, to stimulate the flesh, to stimulate us so we can support and please the flesh. And suddenly this wave of people, especially women, spiritual women, is awakening to this call that they feel within their heart. And what they truly feel is something that probably many of us wasn't even able to call, to name. It feels like love in the heart. It truly feels like something is tingling within our heart space, within our chest. It feels like love. It feels familiar, yet we are unable to really call it in a very specific way. So I call it the call from God. I call it the call that God is sending out to his women, to the ones that assigned for a special mission, to who assigned to ascend, to who assigned to break the cycles, and so on and so forth. So as we are following this call that we feel within our heart, yes, I want to do good for others, yes, I want to spread the love, yes, I want to learn more about God. And as we are opening ourselves up to this call, the first thing that is available there are all those widely spread spiritual circles that already took the title of the divine feminine, and very often are guiding women that the divine feminine is a woman who came here to spread the love and light, and all she wants to see is the love and light. She believes that just by deciding to be love and light, she will be doing herself good, and she will be doing something good for the world. She very quickly entangles herself with the circles that teach about the power of the divine feminine that mainly evolves around manifestation and creating different realities and commanding realities and becoming this powerful shamanic goddess that is now connected to the whole universe. And she very quickly dives into all those wisdoms and knowledge. God forbid, maybe sometimes she even dives into witchcraft and everything else. And she thinks that because has opened herself up to all the invisible, because she has opened herself up to so-called universe, because she opened herself up to all those universal laws, and she is now participating consciously in the creation of her reality. And then, of course, the money aspect comes in as well. And she is learning that she can start to manifest money and more money as well. And there is a lot of women stepping into business coaching, how to make multiple figures, how to become the millionaire, billionaire. And very often they are successful as they are using the universal laws. And she thinks she is on top of the world. What's more, there is a very popular topic of the twin flame unions, and suddenly every single woman wants to be the one that came here to experience the union of twin flames, the two souls the one soul that has been divided into two. There's so many attractive things that she suddenly feels drawn to, the out of this world relationship, the millions, the ability to command reality, the ability to communicate with spirits, the ability to be the healer, the ability to basically suddenly through all those activities become someone very, very powerful. And as women are stepping and very often boldly embodying and engaging with all those activities and embodying, those goddesses, those queens archetypes as they believe they are, God is still quietly watching. God is still very quietly watching their blindness, very patiently, very lovingly. And then when the call in the divine, true divine feminine heart, the true call is still active. And what do I mean by that? We can say actually that, the path of the new age divine feminine is one of the greatest tests of the heart that God has allowed for the women to go through before the actual path will begin, the actual restoration and healing will begin. The reason why I'm saying this is that if after giving this whole power, those all tools, access to all of it, the call in her heart, the true longing for God, regardless of receiving all of that, is still there. If she hasn't been sold to all that power, God will pull the carpet of illusion from underneath her feet to begin the true, honest path. Why? Because God will, through this test, see those women who maybe unknowingly, unconsciously decided that the power that they access through all those activities, the power that the multiple figures money gave them, the worth that they gained through this, the fact that they are bringing love, light, and they're ignoring the true enemy, darkness, they're blind to it, because the enemy doesn't really attack them because they are not the threat to the enemy. Then they have already chosen their God. They have chosen the world. They have chosen the money. They have chosen this kind of power, the fake power, the synthetic power, the power that will not take them far. And they often remain on that path, and they for years remain delusional that this is exactly what God, the universe, wants them to do, that they are on the mission. But unless a woman becomes completely naked with God, without anything, unless God stripped away everything from her, and she remains faithful and focused on God, then it means that she belongs to something else. Because this whole path is about belonging fully 100% to God and to nothing of this world. So for those where this call remains, where the true longing for there is something that I feel I understand, I don't understand, I can't name it, but there is something, God will take care of that. God will pull this false carpet from underneath your feet, and God will start to show you that, first of all, the healing that is so greatly advertised throughout the New Age, that you believed will receive from many different healing techniques, can only be given to you by true God. The true restoration of your soul, of your spirit, of your body, of your mind can only happen in a communion with God, can only be given to you by God. God will make it clear to you that your self-worth, your self-esteem shall never, ever, ever be built upon any of those tools, any of those techniques, any of those titles even. Even the title Divine Feminine is being taken by many women because they simply want to feel better. But the title of Divine Feminine, you will feel internally being placed upon your head in the form of a divine spiritual crown by God Himself when you are truly ready to receive it, because there is nothing you are attached to. God is suddenly making it clear that the universe that you start to become so familiar with, and the universal laws and the manifestation laws, actually pushed you more into being more of the controlling person. And the Divine Feminine is all about letting go of the control. God is starting to show you very gently that actually the thing that you called universe and you believe that this is God, these are not the same things. You are one with God, and every single moment to moment you are creating a universe. But within this universe you are creating may be either a lot of delusion, illusion, and deception, or your universe may be filled with the presence of God when you are in true union with God. The universe perceived as God that you've learned is basically giving you everything you want, that works like a genie's lamp and doesn't care what you do, only cares about your vibration, is not the God we are speaking here about. Your God truly cares about absolutely everything you are going through, truly cares about your growth, truly cares about your potential, truly cares about this path, truly loves you, the whole of you. And it's so wise and intelligent. And once you truly, honestly turn to the real God, it will definitely, first of all, focus on having a relationship with you so you never ever be deceived again. Another thing that is the money, creating the multiple figures. And right away, I want to be very clear, there is nothing wrong in receiving great financial provision from God. There is nothing wrong in having a lot of financial resources available for you to invest in things that bring good into your life, that bring good into the world. God wants us to live abundantly. But if your main focus is on money, if money has its own altar, if money stands before God, then you have been sold to that God. If you are a woman who managed to start a very successful spiritual business that made millions, and you have those millions in your account, and there is a potential that you will very soon turn those millions into billions. And let's say suddenly God is coming to you, the presence of God is manifesting in front of you and says to you, I want you to leave all of it behind and come with me without all those money. Would you leave it? Would you go into the unknown, leaving everything behind? Because the reason why actually God very wisely and also very lovingly, very honestly gave this access was to see which woman will go after the right God. And if you are someone who has all the priorities in order, and God is always on the first place. Your relationship to God is unshakable. Your faith and trust is unshakable. Then the money becomes just an addition. It becomes so meaningless. The amount of it becomes so meaningless because it comes to you so easily as well, that all you can truly focus on is to be in service. You no longer focus on the numbers. You look after the money, you invest them wisely, you save the money, you delegate the money, you give the 10% to the charities, but it's not your God. It's not your goal every single day. And this is what a lot of Christian circles will often say, that the Antichrist, actually the anti-God, will use money to manipulate people, women with true calling in many different ways. In many different ways. So the new age actually comes as something that is giving you, look, you have all those powers. You can connect to the spirit, you can be a healer, you can do this, you can do that, you can manifest, you can become your own God. Is actually placing us on a path of even greater distortion and even greater disconnect from God. What happens when God is suddenly pulling that rug from underneath your feet? The process of true purification and purging and pruning begins. And God who sees absolutely everything that needs to go in order to help you to step into your true potential, will start to take you on the path of transformation, liberation, purification. The first thing that God will want you to release are all the external things, all the things of this world, as we said, money, for example, and you will be asked to leave it behind. And it may happen in many different ways. It may happen that suddenly you will simply lose everything. There may be a fire, there may be some unexpected bankruptcy, there may be absolutely anything that suddenly will take away all your material belongings, will take away all your money. And God will always look after you. God will not leave you forsaken. God will be there with you in this situation. And God will be looking how you are coping, how you are dealing with this kind of loss, whether you will go into a rebellion against God, whether you will start to seek help from other people, or whether you will turn to God and ask Him to guide you out of the situation. The reason why God is looking whether you are seeking help elsewhere, then through prayer, through petition to God, is the dependency. One of the things that God will start to teach you as well on your true path is so you can become completely dependent on God only, not other people. And it doesn't mean that other people will not come with help, but it will happen through God's intervention, through God's grace, through God's planning, not you consciously leaving God behind and choosing your own ways, choosing your own ideas to take yourself out of, difficult situation, because what would God do? And the more you are refusing to let God take things into its own hands, the more you will try to be the independent, be the wise one, be the businesswoman that will somehow create another business, another millions. God will cause the same cycle to collapse again and again and again and again, until you learn that these things will not remain in your life as long as they are not serving your growth, your purpose, your divine feminine path. Until you learn that you do not depend absolutely on anything that is of this world. So all of that suddenly can be taken away from that. Then, of course, all the people, all the relationships in our life that do not serve our purpose, that are with someone who will keep us in the old version of ourselves. And that often is a very big call for isolation. A lot of women, they do not know, but they are entering the time of isolation, where suddenly all the social life is collapsing, all the friends are disappearing, new friends are not coming in. Making new friends suddenly becomes like a little bit of a struggle, because people are literally coming and going like trains. I remember that experiencing that in my life. I felt that people suddenly became like just running trains, like hello, goodbye, and there was no arguments, nothing. They were just simply running through my life, and we had some quick connection happening, and then they would go. And that was God inviting me to first focus on the friendship with Him, on the closeness with Him, on the intimacy with Him, spending time with Him, trusting Him with absolutely everything, having fun with Him, crying with Him, all of the things with Him, because you are on the path of the woman of God. You need to belong fully to Him. So that's another thing that you will have to let go. Absolutely everything in your life, also that comes before God, will have to be destroyed. So we may think, okay, so I now lost the multi-million business, I lost all my material possessions, I lost my friends, I lost my boyfriend. God took my boyfriend because he wasn't right for me. What else can I release? Or there will be things that you do in your daily life, in your daily routine, that, for example, come first before you spend time with God. It may be food, it may be your mobile, it may be watching TV, it may be absolutely everything. It's very, simple things. Yet, God will be paying very close attention. He really does want you to reshuffle all your priorities and truly honor Him. Truly honor Him, so your relationship is so solid, is based on such a respect and worshiping of the true God, not so He can feel so amazing, but so you feel safe. So you on the inside, through your obedience, start to feel closer to God. So you, through your new choices, where He is always being chosen, the first one, when you put Him first before anything and anyone else, you feel unshaken. And why is it so important? Because, of course, the enemy, all the darkness will go against you. As a woman of God, you really will have to study and examine the ways of ego, the ways of the enemy, the ways of the dark energies, demons even. Perhaps your mission, your passion here is to perform deliverance. I was very surprised when I was suddenly introduced to work in heavenly courts. I was mainly focusing on completely different aspects of my spiritual path. And suddenly God gives me the work that I need to start learning how to operate within the courts of heaven. Then He's giving me information on deliverance as well, on the prayers. And that was something that I would never ever choose for myself, simply because I really like the idea of being love and light and not really being aware of how the enemy works. And that was really great for the enemy, because enemy feels the safest and the greatest when it pretends it doesn't exist. When we are unaware of it, it feels safe to mingle into our thoughts, mingle into our words, into our life, and sabotage our life, sabotage our destiny. So God is, trying to execute, and demand those changes for your growth, for your safety, for your well-being as well, because the attacks that are happening through the spiritual warfare, at times they can be very, very severe, and they can affect how you feel, how you think, and can affect your whole path, can make you step away from the path. And trust me, the enemy will do absolutely everything to destroy your destiny. So this is for your own benefit and your own good. Now you will have to completely let go of the world as well and become, as I said, naked with God. Everything that the world has in it, that has some kind of control over you, that tastes better, feels better than God, needs to go. There must be complete non-dependency on the world. And I, for example, had a great relationship with food. Great is a little bit of a sarcasm before, because I was seeking kind of safety and comfort in my eating, and so God invited me to do fasting to break the the bondage of this unhealthy relationship to food. And food also, I did not realize until I started to examine it on a deeper level, became my distraction. So whenever God was, intuitively sending me to do something, I would go to the kitchen and eat something, and then I would delay things, and then I would say I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then the enemy would come up with different distractions, but the food definitely was a distraction for me. I was either eating, or I was saying that I need to cook something for someone. So because I'm very passionate about cooking, about creating. This is a form of art for me. The enemy was using my passion for it to distract me with it. So I don't practice my discipline, and I don't commit first to the responsibilities that God gave me, but instead, because I'm working from home, I can go to the kitchen anytime and do something in the kitchen instead of at my desk. So that's just an example of things that you're gonna have to leave behind. Uh, God will also scan you and make you aware of all your shadows and all your fears. So the way I remember, for example, uh, going through different, expecting to be healed in different ways as I was dipping my toes in a new age, was nothing like God introduced me to do the type of healing He had for me. The way God will help you to heal from your shadow, integrate your shadow, is definitely based on, gaining more awareness on the different ways why you act different ways, why you think different ways, where those wounds are coming from. But the healing that is taking place thanks to the involvement of God happens a lot. It begins with the awareness, because God is making us aware that certain behavioral thinking traits, patterns are not healthy and they need to go. God will help us to understand what are the healthy ways. And it may be related to absolutely anything: codependency, attachment, avoidance. It can be habits, addictions, all of it. Um, God will make us aware, but then the healing truly happens through surrendering that healing to Him, through us making different choices, us going through deep, beautiful forgiveness, and we will learn about the forgiveness of the divine feminine as well. God will do the rest. God will create the true restoration within your spirit. Whereas in the new age, you've been promised different shifts, different changes through energy work a lot. But the actual change would never happen, and you would be left in this disempowered state where on the outside you want to be this love and light to everyone, but on the inside you still felt like a rotten apple and you didn't really feel much difference. That's because the real God wasn't involved in this healing. That's because the strength of God, the wisdom of God wasn't involved, because we dependent in new age, you depend only on your own power or powers of the healer a lot of the times. And you do not seek the true healing. And God knows absolutely everything that needs to be healed within you, what needs to be revealed to you about your shadow. And on your path of healing, God will make you face your shadows, and God will make you face your fears. And you're going to have to face those fears and overcome those fears for sure. Why? Because as long as there is fear, there will be control. As long as there is fear, the enemy has control over you. You try to control the world, the enemy is controlling you in truth. And you cannot belong to the world. You cannot belong to the enemy. Again, you cannot belong to the fear. You cannot have the altar of the fear. That needs to go. And that may sound pretty simple. That may sound pretty normal and obvious, but some of us, and I think actually, after working with many women on their sacred womb spaces, I do know that we actually carry so much trauma that still produces a lot of fear within us. And a lot of us have the root chakra, the safety issues still very much active and present within our choices. And I think that a lot of women are carrying a lot of PTSD as well within their bodies. And there's many reasons for that. We may come to that within different broadcasts. But there is a lot of fears from the lineage that we decided to take on ourselves in order so we can release it, so it can be transformed and healed on this beautiful sacred path. But we do not understand that when our root chakra is being when our safety is hugely affected, and there is, for example, a great fear of death, which a lot of us subconsciously, unknowingly carry, because that fear probably was given to us by our ancestor that, for example, was alive during the wars. And there was a lot of death present. And if there was a lot of fear of death, and we are the one that will be releasing that, what you will need to do, you will have to face those fears. And almost like in a movie, what was happening in my life, the live God was just creating those scenarios where I was literally facing situations where I was afraid of my life, and I could not understand initially why those things are cycling and repeating themselves, regardless of what I'm trying to do or how much I'm trying to avoid it. God was really making me face that, to show me that it is an illusion, and regardless of what is taking place in your life, He is always with you and He will keep you safe. Because the only way to heal us from any type of fear is to make us face it and know that God is with us and God is supporting us and providing for us with absolutely everything, including the safety when it comes to our life. And that can manifest, in our lives also in many different ways. It may be even manifest in what we just said before, that suddenly you will lose everything and you feel like you have lost your life. And that's when God steps in, and He really wants you to count on Him, to rely on Him, to trust in Him. And things like that will have to take place unless you will choose to divert, unless you will choose to let go of that path. But I believe that the destinies that are written upon our lives, they cannot really truly be changed. So those fears, all of those fears, and there may be smaller fears, completely different fears, but all of them will have to be faced. Um, the goal here is, as we said, to become fully dedicated woman of God, someone who truly belongs just to God first, and then comes the rest. But the beauty of that, of the divine feminine, is also to make you someone who is completely detached from anything, who do not depend on anything or anyone. Why? Because every single time you depend on something or someone, you are trading part of yourself at God, and God wants to give you the experience of wholeness, of full liberation, safety, and sovereignty. So to be detached from anything and everything is one thing, but it also allows you to be connected to everything. And what does it mean? It means that you are releasing the self and you are truly stepping into your oneness and unity with God, with your brothers and sisters. When you achieve that level of, the detachment and non-dependency and oneness with others, that's when your true divine gifts are really, really activating, where you receive your gift of prophecy because you truly receive those information, those messages from God, or any other gifts for that matter. And you may in fact receive, the gift of healing, um, of miracles, of deliverance and everything else, because you are so powerfully connected to God. Uh, Everything that is also what we said before, creating distractions in your life, also will have to go. And again, it may be anything: people, behaviors, music, even movies, absolutely everything. And towards not the end, but later on that path, what will start to happen? God will start to initiate the inner union. The thing that all those couples, women especially, who want to be on a twin flame journey, often say that they have embodied. The embodiment of the union with God and the balance between the feminine and masculine is also a process that requires work and courage, because a lot will have to be released and changed and transformed, especially on the mind level, before a woman allows herself to step into that full, beautiful, everlasting union. And for those, those women who, as I said, I believe are on a twin flame path. Again, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to say that you are not. But I only share a word of discernment to realize that this path is also a very difficult path, very challenging path. And if it's true that you met this person here on at this time in your life, that's great. That's absolutely great. But prepare yourself to put, the proper things first. And first, it's going to have to be the union with God and the isolation and the celibacy, even before you start to focus so much on being with that person. That is absolutely secondary, if not the least important thing. Um, and it can be only truly manifested by the will of God once you also have your inner union in place. For the inner union, it is also important, to release all those illusions and fears as well. With those fears, when there is not enough trust between the feminine and masculine, there will always be some kind of war and conflict. And don't forget that we all came here with a lot of conflicts between feminine and masculine. That is, I believe, the main reason why there's so much issues and troubles around the world, and illusions of lack and limitations, because the feminine still doesn't trust the masculine enough. And of course, on this path, we will have to go through a lot of tests of faith, of trust, of choosing God no matter what. So we are not being sold to the world, so the world cannot affect us in any way. And that's when we can start walking in our true power, having God as our armor, where God will tell us what to do, and we will do it being completely unafraid, because we are overcoming the world, not the other way, not the other way around. There is, of course, many more details in between those different stages, releases, and tests. And I'm sure that on many occasions we will discuss those topics here within the group. But for now, to all of you that perhaps maybe potentially have been on this path through the New Age teachings, and you are feeling that perhaps the true path is just as actually only just awaiting me, and you don't know how to begin it, or how to uh, step away from the New Age, and you have any questions, just feel free to leave a comment below. There is no shame, by the way. As I said, everything is happening for a reason, and God can turn absolutely everything into asset. And we wouldn't be sent there if it wasn't necessary. We would be protected. When the time is right, God will take us away, and He will start to teach us the right things. So please, there is no judgment, there is no shame, but it's important to be honest and ask the right questions if you have any, if you truly want to know how to progress. So with that, I really do hope that it had supported you. And gave you a little bit more clarity, that the divine feminine, that is being sold to us, given to us, commercialized by the New Age, is actually still a very wounded woman, who perhaps through the disempowerment finally start to feel empowered, by opening herself up to a lot of gifts and abilities, often opening herself up actually to very negative energies, being controlled by those energies, and being kept in a loop with all those healing practices, believing that manifestation is the ultimate power. Of course, making money will be the decisive point, whether she will be sold to the right God, right? So there is no judgment in anything, and anyone can choose the change and can choose differently at any time. So with that, I am sending you all a lot of love. I will see you very, very soon. Please let me know if there is any specific topic you would like me to discuss with you. I will definitely will be coming very, very soon with wisdom and knowledge on the sacred womb healing. And I really, really can't wait to share more wisdom about that with you as well. Sending you all a lot of love. Have a beautiful